Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to present an architecture and a use case with an event-driven architecture and serverless. All the elements will be driven by events and by serverless components, and everything will be launched in Google Cloud. I gave this talk to the JDG Cloud Paris yesterday, and I wanted to do a replay of this talk for the community. I developed all this architecture from scratch, and I wanted to show a real-world use case and with event-driven architecture and serverless components, and to show how to orchestrate everything with EventArch. And I have some slides for this talk. Some words about me. I am a Google Developer Expert on Google Cloud, also head of Data and Cloud at GroupBiz in France, and you can also follow me on some social media like this YouTube channel and also Twitter and LinkedIn. About the schema of this use case. I will firstly launch the use case with Cloud Function V2, and the component are written with Python and Go. Firstly, the use case will be launched for only with Cloud Function. Then we will launch the same use case but with Cloud Run services instead of Cloud Functions. With the same code, the same logic, and the same principles. Only we will replace the Cloud Function by Cloud Run services. All the events will be managed by EventArch, and a file will be uploaded to a cloud storage bucket. Then at the end, after applying some transformation in the code, we will save the output to a BigQuery table. I will jump on the schema of this architecture. Here, at the left part, we have the CI/CD. The CI/CD is managed by Cloud Build, and as I said and explained previously, we have Cloud Function V2 and Cloud Run services. I created two manual jobs with the Cloud Build. One to deploy all the Cloud Functions, and the other to deploy all the Cloud Run services. This project is hosted in a GitHub repository, and for the Cloud Run part, it depends on Docker images, and we will host these images in Artifact Registry. Artifact Registry allows to store some artifacts like Docker images, Python packages, or Java, and every languages. Here we can see the schema of the application. I will zoom out a little bit. Yes. Up. Sorry. And in this use case, we treat real data. This data corresponds to the player statistics for the Qatar FIFA World Cup. The data are uploaded to a cloud storage bucket, and the raw data corresponds to ND.json file. ND.json file is in each line we have a JSON object. I will then, in the code, show you the structure of the raw data and also the expected calculated domain data. The file is uploaded to a cloud storage bucket. This bucket is dedicated to raw data. At the bottom, we have a timeline, an event timeline for event arc. Firstly, after uploading the file to a cloud storage, with event arc, we will trigger a serverless component. At the top, we will firstly launch the use case with Cloud Function here, and we will then replace the Cloud Function by Cloud Run Services at the bottom. And for the first event, driven by this event in near real time, when the file is uploaded to the bucket, will trigger the first serverless component. This component is written in Python, and the responsibility of this component is to transform the raw data to domain data. We will apply business rules to apply some aggregation per team, and we will calculate some elements per team. Then we will write the result to another cloud storage bucket. This bucket is dedicated to domain data. Then with event arc, we will detect the upload of this file. Then we will trigger a second serverless component. In this case, this component will retrieve another file. This file contains the FIFA ranking per team. Then we will join from the raw data, we will join the element by team name. Then we will retrieve the FIFA ranking and assign it to my current node and current team from the domain data. After set the FIFA ranking in each element in my list, we will write the result to a BigQuery table here. And at the end, with event arc, when we will write the result to this BigQuery table, we will launch in real time a last serverless component. This component will move the processed files, for example, the raw file and the domain file. If everything work well without error, we will move at the end and backup the process file to a final cloud storage bucket. For example, it's a cold bucket. It's a pattern that we can see in data pipelines, for example. If we treat and process correctly all the input files, at the end we will backup these process files to a bucket to store only for storage. It's good for the event-driven application. At the right side, at the end of this use case, we will show the result data from BigQuery, and for the data-vis part, with Looker Studio, we will show all the KPIs and the statistics per team. And in this case, the use case calculate the top scorers, best passers, dribblers, goalkeeper, and so on. Some statistics per team. I think it's good for the explanation of the use case. I will jump on the code. For the code, I have two folders, functions that contains all my cloud functions, and also services. Services contains all my Cloud Run services. For the Cloud Build part, I have this YAML file, deploy all cloud functions, and this job will deploy all my cloud functions. I will launch it to save time. I go to the README file and I have this command line to launch the deployment of all my cloud function. Then I will show the logic and the code for each cloud function. I go to the shell session and I will launch the deployment of my cloud functions. I authenticate from my shell. It will take a few minutes to finish. I go to my folder containing my cloud functions. The first cloud function is written with Python. To work correctly, we need having at the root folder of my cloud function, I need having a main py file here, and this main py file uses a function framework and cloud event to receive the associated event. It corresponds to the entry point of my cloud function. I also need having a requirement.txt file at the root of my folder because to work correctly, I need to give all the needed Python packages to launch my cloud functions. Here I will work with the Cloud Storage Bucket Python client, also other open source packages, and of course I need to pass the function framework in order to receive the request for my cloud function. This cloud function will be triggered when the file is uploaded to the raw bucket. Then in real time this cloud function is triggered. I have access to this object cloud event, and from this object I can retrieve the data that corresponds to the current event. This event give me the bucket, the concerned bucket, and the concerned object. Then I have the Cloud Storage Python client. I prepare the input bucket and the input blob object. And with this syntax, download as byte, I can retrieve the data from the input raw file. After this, the role and the responsibility of this cloud function is to transform the raw data to domain data. I have created this object with a data class with Python, and I calculate some elements like the total goal and the top scorer, best passer, dribblers, the goalkeeper statistics, most appearance, most duel wins, interceptions, and successful tackles. All the elements are calculated in this class. I calculate all the elements. I will not focus and stay on this element because there is some code logics, but the goal is to retrieve the elements and calculate all the expected fields for the domain data. To show a little bit the data. The data, for example, I proposed here a sample of the data. it corresponds to ND-JSON. And I reformatted this data. I have, for example, for France team, all the player statistics. For example, I have the stat of the goalkeeper, and for all the players, we have the goal score, the appearance, and also some statistics. For the domain data, I will apply a group by per team, then calculate the total goal per team. In the second cloud function, I will assign the FIFA ranking. And for the business logics, I will calculate all the top scorers per team, the best passers, because maybe some players can have the top goal scored. That's why I have a list for these elements. I have the best passers, also the not best dribblers, and the goalkeeper statistic, and so on. And I go again in the Python code. At the end, I return the result object with all the calculated fields. I jump again on the main PY file. I transform the domain object to ND-JSON string, and this cloud function will write the results to another bucket dedicated to domain data. I think it's good for the logic of this cloud function. I go to the second logic. For this logic, I will read this side input file. I have my raw data, and I retrieve this file that give me the FIFA ranking per team. Then in the code, with the same logic I showed previously for the first cloud function, I have the entry point and the cloud event. I retrieve the data, and in this case, event arc. When we upload the domain data to the bucket, this second cloud function will be triggered in near real time. In the same principle, I retrieve the input bucket, and in this case, I retrieve the data here that correspond to the domain data. Then I retrieve the FIFA ranking, and this method with Python, I will apply a join in the code. For example, in this method, I have my domain element and the ranking list, and I join the element per team name. And at the end, I assign the FIFA ranking to the current object, and I return the current dict. I also add an ingestion date to my elements, only for BigQuery. Then I also give a schema for BigQuery, because this cloud function, when we retrieve the domain data and set the FIFA ranking, at the end, this cloud function will write the result to a BigQuery table. I prepare the BigQuery client. I retrieve the schema from prepared in the code. I prepare some configuration because I want to control how the element will be written to BigQuery. In this case, I don't want the table will be created by the code, and I prefer this responsibility is delegated to a Terraform code, for example. In this case, we write the data in the table, and the format is new line delimited JSON. With this syntax, we load the result to a BigQuery table. And an important thing here, when we invoke the BigQuery client, by default, when we launch a job with BigQuery, sometimes errors are not clear because the BigQuery client will log in the stack trace that we can check the error collections in order to have more information on the current errors. And in this case, the errors are not clear in Cloud Login and in the logs. That's why I recommend here to add a try catch when we launch the BigQuery job. And in this case, we can have access to the current exception. And from the current exception with the client error, we can access to this error collection. And in this case, the error is more clear and we can check more easily and understand more clearly and more easily the errors in this case. And I really recommend to use a try catch in this case with accessing to the current exception. The logic is finished for this cloud function. The last cloud function is written in Go. I wanted to use different languages to show that this kind of system with cloud function or cloud run services, we can switch easily languages if needed, because sometimes it can be interesting because maybe for any reason we can jump and use another SDK. And this kind of architecture facilitates the way to change a language if necessary. I wanted to show this example with Go. This last cloud function will be triggered when the file will be loaded, when the data will be loaded to the output BigQuery table. And in this case, to show a little bit the event arc triggers, I have some scripts for a cloud function. For the first cloud function with event arc, we have this gcloud CLI command, function deploy. We give the folder of the cloud function and the entry point. The entry point is the method I showed previously that correspond to the main method of the main PY file. We can pass a service account and all the parameters that start with trigger correspond to event arc. And with event arc, we can add some filters. In this case, I added a filter for the first cloud function to indicate when a file is uploaded to this bucket for the raw data. In this case, we will trigger the cloud function with event-driven. In this case, it's interesting because it corresponds to an event based on an upload to a bucket. For the second cloud function, the principle is the same. Here. And when we write the second file, the domain file to the bucket, we will trigger the second cloud function. But for the last cloud function, in this case, when the element and the data are written to the BigQuery table, we want to trigger this last cloud function to move the process file, row and domain to a cold bucket. And in this case, for BigQuery, there is no built-in event filter like in the cloud storage part. And in this case, we can use audit log because behind the scene, when we perform some actions for BigQuery, some audit logs are executed behind the scene. An audit log is enabled by default for all the BigQuery actions. It's very interesting to know this concept, and in this case with EventArc, we can use a type with audit log, and we can indicate that the service concerns BigQuery, and the method name in this case is an insert job. The documentation gives all the possible filters in this case and all the possible method name or service name for audit log. The cons in this case is we don't have the possibility to give a filter on a specific table, for example. In this case, I load the data to a specific table and I want my last cloud function react and will be triggered only when I save data only to this table. In this case, it's not possible to do that directly in the filters. That's why I do that directly in the code of the cloud function. And in this case, I will apply a logic to check if the current event concerns the expected table. And in this case, for example, with Go, I can prepare and create a struct object, audit log entry. And in this case, I create and type my object because audit log has a standard payload. I can show you a standard payload for audit log. Audit log have this payload, for example. And with audit log, we can retrieve the resource name. And in this case, I can access to my BigQuery table. I also can access to some metadata and some resource. And the resource give me the project ID and the current dataset. I can retrieve the resource and also the current resource name. And in the code, I type my element with Go. And with this syntax, I prepare the entry point of my cloud function. I have access to the event, and from the event, I retrieve the log entry, the audit log entry. I can access to the resource and the resource name, the dataset and the table, and I can apply a logic. I check if the current dataset provided by the event from audit log is equals to the expected dataset, and also if it corresponds to the current table. I can also have access to the current inserted row to BigQuery. And if the row is greater than 0, I consider my data are correctly written to my BigQuery table. And in this case, I can apply the expected logic in the code. And it's great. I can move the processed files from row and domain to a destination bucket. It corresponds to a call bucket on this example. For the moving part, the code is proposed in the official documentation, and we can retrieve the source and destination bucket and object with this syntax, and we can invoke the copier from source to destination and delete the source. It's okay for the logic of this cloud function, and I think the code was explained as expected. To go again in the cloud build part, I launch the script to deploy all the cloud functions, and the script I showed previously allows to deploy the cloud functions to give the source, the entry point, and also all the elements for event arc and the trigger filters on the bucket. The same logic for the second cloud function with the event arc on a second bucket dedicated to domain data. And the last script that I showed previously based on audit log. I think the deployment is finished. I have this file. It corresponds to the input raw file. And I have a little script to upload this file to the raw bucket. I jump to my shell session and I will copy my element to the cloud storage bucket. Then I will jump, my bucket is here, event-driven function raw, input stats. I upload the element here, but I think the cloud function was triggered. I jump here on my first cloud function, raw to domain, and I will refresh the log. And normally in real time, we saw that the cloud function was triggered correctly and the domain data was calculated and uploaded to the cloud storage bucket. I jump to the second cloud function that had FIFA ranking per team. Sorry. My window is blocked. And this cloud function will calculate the domain data and apply, add the FIFA ranking, and we saw that the data was correctly loaded to the BigQuery table. Here. And for the last cloud function, sorry, refresh my page. For the last cloud function, we move the data, row and domain, to the call bucket. And in this case, we saw that the logic is invoked and it's okay. We can go to BigQuery to check the result data. And in this case, the result data in preview, my data was loaded as expected in my table. It's great. And in the last bucket, in this case, I have my cold bucket. And in this case, I jump here. And in the input, I copied the raw data here. I open the raw data to show the results. And the result was loaded correctly. And I jump to the domain. And for the domain data, I check the result here. And the domain was uploaded in the cold bucket. The logic was applied for a cloud function. To save time, I show the Cloud Run part. The logic is similar for Cloud Run. To save time, I go again in my README file and I will launch the command line to deploy all the Cloud Run services here. And for the Cloud Run services, I will execute the deployment here. And it will take few minutes. To save time, I jump to the logic, deploy all Cloud Run services. For Cloud Run, it's based on Docker images. And firstly, I need to deploy and publish all my images to Artifact Registry. I have my 3 Docker images here. And a second step will execute some bash script to deploy my cloud functions as expected. I will show the script for Cloud Run. For the Docker images, the logic is simple here. I used Docker instead of gcloud build submit because with Docker native command, I can have it's more easy to work with the current working directory from the root of the project. I explain this concept in other videos, and I build my Docker file because here in the service folder I have all the logic of my Cloud Run services is pushed in the folder. I have my Docker file here, and for the Docker file the logic is simple. I have a requirement.txt file that gives me all the packages for the Cloud Run service, like Cloud Storage, FastAPI, UVcorn, and also some other packages. In Cloud Run, I prefer to use FastAPI instead of Flask because I think FastAPI gives more possibility to work with API with Pythons, and give the possibility to work with Pydantic behind the scene to apply some validations, and it's very interesting. I install the requirement.txt file here, and I copy my service folder in the container, and then with UVcorn, with the syntax that I explained in a dedicated video, we can access to the entry point of the application. The entry point here is the main PY file, and in this case I have access to the FastAPI element app, and in this case I can access to the services folder main and also the app element, and I think it's very good. To explain the logic here for the Cloud Run services. For the code logic, after deployed my Cloud Function, for the code logic with FastAPI, I have the app, I have the entry point, and I can import with FastAPI a request object. The request object here give me the possibility to access to the current header of the HTTP request. We can also access to the payload if needed, but here with this syntax I can access to the current bucket triggered with event-driven and event arc. I can access to the input bucket and input object. In this case, I have a prefix with for the request. I remove this element and I have access to the bucket and the object. In this case, I can, in the same logic done in the Cloud Function, I can access to the input element, input object, apply the same logic explained in the Cloud Function, and I can upload the result domain data to the bucket. The principle is the same for the second element. I have my Docker file requirement.txt, entry point, also my HTTP request. I retrieve my buckets. I apply all my logics here, and with the BigQuery Python client, I write the result to a BigQuery table with the business logics and also with FIFA ranking per team. For the last Cloud Function, Cloud Run services, sorry. In this case, I written it with FastAPI because I wanted to show how to retrieve the event payload for FastAPI. In this case, the official documentation shows many examples with Flask, and in this case, I didn't show example for FastAPI. I wanted to show how to do that with FastAPI. We have access to the request, and with this syntax from HTTP, we pass the header as dict, and with an await, we pass the request body. And in this case, we have access to the current event payload current event, sorry, and with event.data, we retrieve the current payload. And in this case, it's interesting to show that, and it corresponds to the current audit log as I explained before. This last Cloud Run services react when the data are written to the output BigQuery table. In this case, I apply the same logic I showed previously for the Go part. I have a try-catch block here. I retrieve in the audit log payload, I retrieve the current data sets and the current table and the inserted rows in the BigQuery table. And I apply the same logic. I check if the output data sets correspond to the expected data set. I check if the table concerns my table. And I check if data are correctly written in the BigQuery table. I have access to the cloud storage bucket, and with this method, with Python, I can move. I copy the file for row and domain. I copy it to the cold bucket with this method given by the Python client. I give the source blob, the destination bucket, and also the name of the file, the destination file. When I copied the elements, I delete the source object. And I think it's good for the logic of this last cloud function. I show everything. Also for the script, to jump on the deployment of the Cloud Run services, I have this script, gcloud run deploy. I give a service name for Cloud Run. I pass the image to artifact registry because the Docker image was uploaded and to artifact registry. I need to give this image to the Cloud Run service. I pass the region. In this case, I don't want this service will be public and this service need an authentication. I pass some environment variables. For event arc, if a previous version exists, I delete it and I launch this command to trigger and create the trigger associated to the Cloud Run service. In this case, I pass the destination service name, the Cloud Run service, the location of the trigger. I also pass the same filter than showed for the Cloud Run part, but I used different buckets for the Cloud Run services. The logic is the same for the second part here, and for the last cloud function, I used audit log as I explained before here with the same principle in the cloud function. I use audit log with insert job. I think my script is finished. I will launch and I will upload my file Cloud Run service. I will upload the file to the raw bucket for Cloud Run, and I will jump on my services. I refresh my page for Cloud Run, and I will show the log. I have this log that show that we uploaded correctly the file to the domain bucket. I jump on the second service for the FIFA ranking to domain data, and I will refresh the log, and we have this log that indicates that the data was correctly loaded to the BigQuery table in real time. And the last element, the last service, I will refresh my page here, and I think my last service it's good. After successfully inserted, the process file are moved to a cold bucket. I go to the BigQuery table here, I refresh my element, and the data was correctly written to my BigQuery table. It's great. And I jump to the cold bucket, and we can check that the file was correctly moved here for row. We have the row file, and we have also the domain file here. And I think it's good. For the last part of this use case, I will show the final data for the statistic for FIFA World Cup from Looker Studio. I created this dashboard that shows, for example, the output data. Here we have Kylian Mbappé, that is the top scorer of the FIFA World Cup. We also have Lionel Messi, Marcus Rashford, and so on. I also displayed this dashboard to indicate with colors the players associated to a team. For example, here Kylian Mbappé is the top scorer for the France team, and Lionel Messi for Argentina, and so on. We have the same logic here for the best passer with Bruno Fernandes, Lionel Messi, Antoine Griezmann, and so on. And for the most apprentices per team, we have some Moroccan players. Looker up, and some Moroccan players. And I will show at the end the statistics for the goalkeeper. We wanted to show the full use case with the DataVis part at the end, but for the most appearances here, some Moroccan players played in this cup, this World Cup, and it indicates that some players from Morocco here. And for the most duel ones, we have Marcus Thuram, Sheikh Moore, and so on. For the interception, Serge Gnabry. The tackles, we have Sung Ho and Eduardo Camavinga. For the goalkeeper, we have the statistic for the best save percentage, and it's interesting because Thibaut Courtois has a great percentage, for example, in this FIFA World Cup. And we also give the statistic for a percentage for the clean sheet for the goalkeeper. And in this case, we saw that Thibaut Courtois have a great percentage again. I think it's good. The use case is finished. It was a pleasure for me to be here. I can jump at the end to my slide. We can indicate some advantages of event-driven pattern. The design is driven by event, and the data was treated very fastly with a low latency. Event Arc make it easy because everything is provided by Google Cloud, and only with command lines everything is managed by GCP, and we can prepare all the filters and create our components to react with event-driven pattern very easily. There is more thing to manage for the cons than an orchestration tool. For example, for an orchestration tool like for batch pipelines like Apache Airflow, we have more elements to deal with tasks, and we can also write tasks parallelly. For example, it's more difficult to do that with this kind of event-driven patterns. For the serverless, the pros, everything is managed, no infrastructure to manage, it's very interesting. We only need to give our command line with configuration, and the cloud facilitates and give serverless components like Cloud Function and Cloud Run. It's cost effective. It's not suitable to all use cases for the cons. For example, in this case, we talk about a data pattern, but sometimes, for example, if the strategy is to use a batch pipeline with crons, maybe an Apache Airflow can be interested. And in this case, we can't, it's not possible to do everything with a serverless approach. It depends on the use case for each team. And we can decide, but sometimes serverless is great, but maybe not suitable for all use cases. Cloud Run versus Cloud Function. The two components are interesting. Cloud Function is more managed. We only need to give the code. No need to know Docker, for example. The team will only give the code logic and deploy it. But Cloud Run gives more flexibility because it's based on a Docker image, and Docker image gives the advantage of the portability. A Docker image can be deployed everywhere in a Kubernetes or in a VM. And also Cloud Run support multi-endpoint, and it's more adapted to receive multi-endpoint, and it's better for the scalability and the complexity. If you have more volume, more complex logics, I think it's better to go to Cloud Run. The documentation explains well the pros and cons for Cloud Run and Cloud Function. In the conclusion, we showed a real-world use case with FIFA World Cup data with an event-driven pattern in Google Cloud. Google Cloud gives us serverless components and also manage all the event timeline and the event-driven pattern with Event Arc. We can switch language easily, and I think the cloud facilitates very well the implementation of this kind of use case. It was a pleasure to give this talk from my YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe to the channel to support our work for the Google Cloud community. It was a pleasure for me. I will give other videos to the community, and see you soon. Bye bye.